Please welcome our duo, Dr. Albrecht Haase, spokesman of the management board, and André Rolfes, head of sustainable finance and CSR, GEFA Bank.
Many thanks for all the attendances. So for those who stay until the end, we will give the hidden champions for capital investment, okay? As we are a bank. Okay, this is only a joke. We want to share the perspective of a bank, or as we are a bank and a lesser company, a leasing company, in the transition towards ESG. It's maybe not only our perspective, but also our input on what we can add to help this transition, which is so important. More specific today, why do we think that leasing is the product that contains the genetics of circularity? So we speak about the leasing company's views in the transition from fossil fuels to clean mobility. Why do we think that we are one of those enablers in the journey? We, that is first of all...
It's me, it's André Rolfes. I'm the head of sustainable finance and CSR at GEFA Bank. And
myself, Albrecht Haase, the CEO of GEFA Bank in Wuppertal. So we work for GEFA Bank in Wuppertal, 75 years of existence. We belong to BPCE, which is one of the fourth largest banks in Europe, with its roots in the French savings and cooperative banks, which is Banque Populaire and Caisse d'Épargne. CSR is at the very heart of BPCE and us. That's also, by the way, why we've been one of the founding partners of Circular Valley, which in turn co-constructed together with Messe Düsseldorf this wonderful event. Basically, we finance core assets that the Deutsche Mittelstand, the SMEs, need for their business model, for their production. Tooling machinery, software, hardware, printing machinery, harvesters, excavators, everything you could think about a typical German Mittelstand would need. And with a specific core competency in transportation business. The picture becomes more vivid when I say that we finance approximately every 10th heavy truck in Germany or every 5th travel coach in Germany. That's a marketing part, okay? Let's now look on the conventional lifespan of a truck. Production in Germany or Europe, transportation to the logistic company which is going to use it, and then typically after 4 or 5 years, which is approximately 600,000 kilometers of usage, it's going to be sold to Eastern Europe for its second life. After that, it's sold mostly to Africa for its third life, before it's decommissioned as well in Africa. We all have pictures of usage and decommissioning in Africa in our mind. Ecologically and economically, this is a pure catastrophe. Okay? Next step, and this is where we are getting a little bit behind the curtains or inside a bank or to the Coca-Cola receipt of a leasing company. As a leasing company, one of our core knowledge is to have a good view on the resale value of the assets. For example, of a truck. This is what we are depicting with this value curve. Which is nothing else but which price would one achieve at which age, at which usage of a truck. So why is this important? Because it decides on the leasing rates that our customer is going to pay, which in turn, again, is for him a very decisive element to calculate his operative cash flow or his profitability. Secondly, It also decides on our profitability, and guess what? We are also interested in being profitable. And last but not least, the share of risk. This is very banking, a very specific banking topic. The share of risk between the lessor and the lessee. So what the hell does this has to do with clean mobility? André.
Thank you, Albrecht, for giving us an insight on maybe what we would call the old world, and now we speak a bit of I have the honor to present probably the new world, but I have to admit we are really at the beginning. If we look at our customers, we have roughly 8,000 customers in the logistics sector. I would guess when I should estimate on how many of these customers are at the moment interested in buying a battery electric vehicle or a battery electric truck, I would say from these 8,000 it's about 100. No one at the moment in the broad SME in the German Mittelstand is interested in switching to be, or not the majority, and I will explain why. And the main burden at the moment, or until now, there was a lack of models. So where there were no really heavy commercial vehicles available that can be used on a daily basis. But that has changed now. The OEMs are producing and manufacturing the first real-life models which can be used in heavy commercial transport. But the burdens remain still high, because when you're looking at an electric truck, it probably has 3 times the price of a diesel truck right now. So 3 times the price of a diesel truck, of course, that's a big investment for a company. And then we are talking about more or less the holy grail of the lease industry, the residual value of those trucks. When you compare the diesel truck after 4 years with the electric truck after 4 years, the diesel truck will have a residual value of about 40%. The problem is no one knows at the moment what is the real residual value of an electric truck. Is it sellable? Is it not sellable? And I said the holy grail is in the end the value of the batteries which are inside these trucks. And of course that's the big burden for our customers, but that's also a big burden for us to estimate. And the question is, how can circularity, or how can we change that, or what are potential things that would help us and that would help the customers? Albrecht presented the traditional life of a truck going to Eastern Europe for the second, third life, and then going to Africa for dismantling and staying there. Shouldn't we not think about keeping these trucks within, I would say, our area? That could be Europe, that could be Germany, but at least in the area we can get access to and where we can do sensible things with the parts. As we said, leasing has more the usage of an asset as the main thing, not the ownership of an asset. If you finance by a credit, you want to own the asset. When leasing, you want to use the asset. So when we think of a truck with a battery, can we not use it for like 5 to 6 years? Can we then exchange the battery? Actually, I'm discussing a lot about second life batteries. And of course, it's often told you can use these batteries then in energy storage systems, in stationary energy storage systems. Yes, but I have to admit, at the moment, I'm not sure if I'm a believer or not, because we are very close to upscaling. And the question is, what do I do when I have 20 trucks in front of my tower where my bank is? To whom can I sell the batteries? Where can I bring them? Is there any demand for these used batteries right now? So we have to find solutions that we reuse the batteries here in Europe or in Germany, that we extend then the initial life of the truck by simply putting, for example, a new battery package in, by refurbishing the chassis. And then it's our job again. What we do not do so far is really the financing of these used, refurbished, new battery vehicle and giving this vehicle a second life in the German market or in the European market. And I think that is really, really crucial and important. Just to give you an idea, heavy trucks registration, that's a market of roughly 60 to 70,000 units in Germany. zero-emission vehicles being registered last year below 1%. So, and that's also, we spoke, or in the last days, we also spoke about competition or cooperation. And I think that's where we probably should leave the old pathway and should think about how can we cooperate, or how can we cooperate together with the clients, with the OEMs, with the financing companies, and how we can build up a model that we enable second life in Germany or in Europe with refurbished trucks, and not only from an economical point of view, but also from a view regarding the raw materials which are inside these batteries. Can we afford in the future to lose all the raw earths and all the other stuff which are in the batteries, bringing it to a place where we don't have access anymore? That's the other question that we should have. So to wrap it up, we would say that leasing or financing has to do a lot with circular economy, and together with the partners we can help building up solutions to extend lifetimes, usage of assets, and for us that is probably one of the most important changes in our business model for the future. Thank you.
And André, thank you. Albrecht and André, thank you so much for sharing your perspective.
Thank you.